Yo, I'm back. Let's make a roster.
Yo, you wanna learn how to do a fucking infinite?
I love Marvel vs. Capcom. It is by far my favorite video game franchise of all time. And hot off the heels of the Marvel vs. Capcom fighting game collection, I wanted to throw my hat in the ring and make a Marvel vs. Capcom 4 roster. Like everyone else. Because I'm super unoriginal. Let's go over how this is going to be formatted. First, I'm going to go over the returning characters from Infinite, that god-awful game. Then, I'll be going over returning characters from 1, 2, and 3. Then, the brand newcomers. I added 16 Marvel characters and 16 Capcom characters on the base roster. That being said, let's get to the roster, shall we?
Capcom presents Marvel vs. Capcom!
Spider-Man, Hulk, Iron Man, Captain America. Shocker, I know. The other returning characters from Infinite would consist of Black Panther, Rocket/Groot, and Venom. On the Capcom side, we have Ryu, Chun-Li, Morgan, Dante, Strider, Frank West, Zero, and Sigma. Now, I know that's more than Marvel, but I just really want Sigma to stay in the game, bro. He was so fucking cool. I'm not really gonna go into too much depth of how these characters could play, because it's Marvel vs. Capcom. They all essentially play the same each game. The reason I kept Frank West in there is because of the release of the Dead Rising remaster. I thought it would make sense to include him still. Besides that, I just want Rocket/Groot and Black Panther to still be in the game. I thought they were great additions in Infinite. Just don't make Black Panther a Wolverine clone. Something I thought would be cool was for Venom's 3-bar special, he would grow his wings and have the Necro Sword, like from the King of Black event by Donny Cates and Ryan Stigman, where he grabs the opponent, flies them up to the sky, stabs them with the Necro Sword, bringing them back down to the ground, doing a ton of damage. For what model of armor I want Iron Man to wear, I want him to wear the Model 70 armor. I think it's a great combination between a modern and classic Iron Man suit. I just don't want him wearing whatever the hell this is. I do want, however, that steampunk armor in the game, even though I don't think they would do it. And also I want Iron Lad to be a skin, because that'd be really cool. I want to clarify that Ryu, Chun-Li, and Dante are all like their modern counterparts. So Ryu and Chun-Li act like how they are in Street Fighter 6, and Dante acts how he is in Devil May Cry 5. They carry their weapons and moves from both those games. I'm going to be keeping track of the roster with this tier list. So as you can see, this is the roster of the characters that were returning from Infinite. Next, we're going to be moving on to the returning characters from 1, 2, and 3.
Ready?
Storm, Wolverine, Cyclops, Magneto are the returning X-Men reps from 3. There are new X-Men characters in the roster. However, I'm making them brand newcomers. Oh, and also you got the funny Chimichanga guy or whatever. Of course, I'm also bringing back Dr. Doom. He's a fan favorite rep for the franchise. Also, because I'm biased, I'm bringing back Taskmaster. He's my main in 3, and I just really like the character. Jill Valentine will be coming back, playing like her Marvel vs. Capcom 2 counterpart, fighting with zombies and not really a lot of guns, like her 3 counterpart. Phoenix Wright is also coming back because he got a collection, and Akuma's coming back because I like Akuma. This is the same exact reason I put Taskmaster back in the game. I'm biased. Also, Captain Commando, Amigo, and Mega Man are coming back. The reasons I brought them back is because with the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, I feel it's important we need to have representation from the 2D era of the game. Plus, Mega Man is just like the biggest Capcom character ever. Besides Akuma looking and playing like the Street Fighter 6 version of him, I didn't really think of a lot of ideas for how we can change these characters up for a new one. I did think about making Mega Man have like a Bowser Jr. type situation where he can have skins of all the alternate Mega Mans from the franchise, but then I later decided to go against that and come up with a brand new concept, which I'm going to get into later. Something I would like is for the X-Men's main designs to be Jim Lee inspired, but their alternate costumes be their modern costumes they're wearing right now in the comics. So Magneto would have his professor design, which goes incredibly hard. Also, make 6160 do the skin. I know it would make 0 sense, like playstyle wise, but please, it'd be so freaking cool. So here's our returning characters so far. Next, we're gonna go into the brand newcomers. I'm gonna go a little bit more depth into what I would do with the characters because, you know, they've never been in the franchise before. So let's just get right into it. The Spot. We've only gotten 2 Spider-Man reps in the entire Marvel vs. Capcom franchise, that being Venom and Spider-Man. I think it's time we get a new rep, better yet, a villain rep. A lot of people point to say Green Goblin should be a new Spider-Man rep, however, I disagree. I think Spot is a character Capcom would want to adapt based off his wacky nature, plus he has a newfound popularity based off Across the Spider-Verse. I can see him having a parry attack where when you punch him, it goes through him and right back at you. For a 3-bar special, I could picture him grabbing the opponent into his own little polka dot world where he could just hit the opponent with a bunch of punches coming from all different directions from various spots. I don't really have an idea what we do for an alternate costume, maybe just his classic design where he still had an eyes and mouth. That's really it. We've never gotten a new Udin's rep before. I think it's time we get one in the form of magic. She can have a big sword, which is great in gameplay. She would also have portal powers, which can be awesome, and she can have a friendly rival with Dante since they both have big swords. Can you see why I want magic in the game? Because big sword, cool. Her main design would be her more modern counterpart, and her classic design would be an alternate skin. Moon Knight! Now, I was kind of tied between Daredevil or Moon Knight, but I'm incredibly biased. Fuck you, Daredevil. I'm picturing Mark playing as a rushdown character who will barrage you with a bunch of fists. I can also see him if you're playing on a stage during nighttime, you'll have a lot more strength since that's how his powers work. I'm also picturing a Phoenix comeback mechanic where Mark is very low, Khonshu will come in, and if Mark accepts him as his father, just like in the comic books, he'll get a second chance. Of course, Mr. Knight would be Mark's alternate costume. Also, I would like Mark's Psych Ward costume to be in the game, however, I doubt they do it. Lastly, Miss Marvel. Just iconic Marvel character that deserves to be in this franchise. She would of course have her stretchy powers, and this would work really well with another newcomer I'm adding to the game on the Capcom side. As much as it pains me to say this, her alternate costume should be her X-Men uniform. She's not an X-Men rep. Alright, let's move to the Capcom side. First, Leon Kennedy. Surprising no one. Yeah, Leon's good again to Marvel vs. Capcom 4. Resident Evil 4 was possibly the biggest remake Capcom ever did, and he's just a fan-favorite Capcom character in general. Of course, Leon is getting into the game. I'm picturing his kick being a snapback. Besides that, Leon practically writes himself how he's gonna play on Marvel vs. Capcom 4. He was made for this game with his exaggerated swagger, bro. Of course, his main design would be the iconic leather jacket from Resident Evil 4, and his alternate costume would be his cop uniform from Resident Evil 2. The other Resident Evil rep added to the game is Lady Dimitrescu. Resident Evil Shinkan Armstrong was possibly one of the biggest modern Resident Evils. She was the main villain in that game as far as I know. Plus, I think her vs. Hulk would be incredibly cool. Juri Han! Give it up for Juri Han, everyone! Juri Han was possibly one of the biggest reps in Street Fighter 6, and Capcom always adds a new Street Fighter rep from the latest game. Look, it'd probably be Luke, but Shuri gets butts in seats. And you know exactly why. Her alternate costume should be her Street Fighter 4 attire. Lastly, Ashura. Possibly one of the biggest, most requested characters on the Capcom side. I just say we finally get him in. He'd be cool against like almost half the characters on the Marvel side. But we're not done here. There's still some newcomers. Remember I said how I created a new concept? Well, it's not new. I stole it from Smash Bros. That's right, baby. We're doing Echo Fighters. 5 Echo Fighters on the Marvel side and Capcom side. The way they'll function is that they'll carry over majority of the moves from their counterparts, but their supers and some mechanics will change for them. Now, some Echo Fighters will be newcomers, however, some also will be returning characters in the form of Echo Fighters. Starting off, Spider-Man Miles Morales. He'll share a majority of Peter's moves, however, when he's low on health, he'll turn invisible. Also, his moves will involve the Venom Strike. War Machine is coming back for MVC2. He'll basically function the same way, where it's just a majority of missiles and bullets instead of plasma rays. However, his supers will change to him involving the shoulder cannon and a lot more barrage of bullets. Gwenpool, baby! Gwenpool will be a copy of Deadpool, functioning the same way. Deadpool already plays a lot like Gwenpool, however, Gwenpool Super will involve her going into the source code of the game and making her stronger and you weaker. Also, Gwenpool's not a healing factor, so that makes her weaker than Deadpool. Now, Hulk was hard, because I was debating to go with either The Thing or Abomination, but then it hit me. Joe Fixit. Now, I want Thing in the game, but if we just made him a copy of Hulk, he would not be the Thing. So that's why Joe Fixit is going to be a version of Hulk that's a little weaker, but he's got guns, baby! He's got Tommy guns, and he's got fists for days! Lastly, the Echo Fighter for Miss Marvel will be Reed Richards. His specials will change for him using more science space tech, and his 3-bar special will involve calling the entire Fantastic Four. Finally, we got Fantastic Four rip in the game. We got 2 Reed Richards. On the Capcom side, we got Ken over Ryu. This is basically just the same as Smash Bros. Miles Edgeworth over Phoenix Wright. Chris Redfield over Leon. Chuck Greeny over Frank West. And Proto Man over Mega Man. That concludes the base roster. Here's our base roster so far, but we're not done yet. We're doing DLC! 5 Capcom characters, 5 Marvel characters, all released in packs of 2. 1 Capcom character, 1 Marvel character. Being said, let's get right into it. The first pack will have 2 sword fighting characters that are really wanted characters for the Marvel vs. Capcom roster, those being Blade and Nero. Blade would function as a rushdown character that also relies on healing like Rogue when he bites you, and Nero will play like a new version of Virgil / Dante, mixing their 2 combat styles together. Blade will have his classic 70s attire as his old costume, and I don't know that much about Devil May Cry for Nero's costume, but if you have an idea, leave it in the comments below. Also, can we please include this in some way for Nero's moveset, please? The next pack would include characters who rely on guns. That's why I'm adding Ada Wong and Hitmonkey. Ada would play like a Spencer character, but with more guns, since she has a grappling hook. And Hitmonkey would play like Rocket Raccoon, but with more guns. Can you sense a common theme here? I tried to make the packs kind of themed, but I gave up on them halfway through, so next up is just characters I really want in Marvel vs. Capcom. Starting off, Beta Ray Bill and Q. Q is self-explanatory, he's from a fighting game, I don't need to explain his movesets. Beta Ray Bill, on the other hand, he would play like Thor, but also have other weapons in his arsenal, like from the Daniel Warren Johnson run. If you have not read that run, please read that run. This next one is kind of themed, as in, they're both furries. Nightcrawler and that wolf from Darkstalkers I cannot pronounce the name of. Wolf from Darkstalkers is not hard to explain, he's from a fighting game, you understand how he plays. Nightcrawler, he's a sword fighting with teleporting powers, pretty self-explanatory as well. Now the last DLC pack, these characters are polar opposites, and that's the entire joke. Jeff the Land Shark, and Avubus from Marvel vs. Capcom 2. Jeff would play like his Marvel Rivals version, just turn that into a fighting game. Avubus would play like his Marvel vs. Capcom 2 boss, just his Phase 1 boss though, not the other 2 forms. And that about concludes it for my Marvel vs. Capcom 4 roster. I tried to include characters I could see Capcom actually adding, so that's why you don't see Shocker in here, and I don't know, fucking Recap. But that's about it. Thanks for watching.